it's really hard to tell them care about math and care about this integral and how to solve this integral if they don't have a place to go home. So I think that we need to see students as a whole individual, as a whole human being.
Excellence at Work is sponsored by Youngstown State University.
You came here from Mexico in 2006.
Yes.
You were a 25 under 35 nominee and you won the VP in 2017.
Yeah.
You were nominated for an Athena Award in 2019.
Yeah.
The same year that you won the Henry L. Alder Award.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I was actually at the 25 under 35 award ceremony.
Yeah.
And I don't remember anything anyone else said, but I do remember you. I do remember.
Because I remember saying, I don't know why they give me an award. I just like math and I want everybody to like math.
You did say that, but you said something else, and I hope you remember it because I wanted to ask you about it.
Okay.
You shared a story about, I think, your first Christmas or your first winter in Youngstown, and it started snowing. And I remember that because it was a very touching story. I was wondering if you remembered what I'm referring to and if you could share it with us.
Yeah. So yeah, when I was about to graduate with my PhD, I was studying in Texas, and I visited several places for interviews. And when I was visiting Youngstown for my interview, it started snowing. And it's not that I've never seen snow, because I had, but like I'm fascinated by it because I come from a place which is 60 to 80 all year long and sunny every day. So like it's terribly boring. So it started snowing and I was like, oh, trying to pay attention and trying to be professional. But on the other hand, like couldn't stop looking at the window. They wanted to go outside. And yeah, so I think it played a big part of my decision to come here.
Well, let's talk about the Henry L. Alder Award, which is only given to, as I understand it, 3 people a year.
Yes.
Across the country. You were one of them in 2019.
Yes.
So I guess, what is your style of teaching and what distinguished you from all of the other math teachers out there that you were able to win such a prestigious award?
So part of the nomination, I didn't know that I was being nominated till later. But part of the nomination, when the students wrote their letter, some students wrote letters of recommendation and some of the faculty, they talked a lot about what I do outside the classroom, which I try to work a lot with students to do research. I think it's because for me, explaining to my parents I want to do this had to be like, I'm doing something useful outside of what we do in the classroom that is not that useful. So I want students to have these like ideas of what you can do with math and like do projects that they care about, that they are passionate about. So I work with a lot of students in research. And like I've had a few students who have been homeless, or I had a student who got pregnant and like she didn't have a place to live. So been like trying to help them, like, you know, it's really hard to tell them care about math and care about this integral and how to solve this integral if they don't have a place to go home. So I think that we need to see students as a whole individual, as a whole human being, and take care of those things before we expect them to solve an integral, which is irrelevant for life. So yeah.
The Community Foundation named you a Woman Warrior of the Week, something like that, for for some of the work that you did during the pandemic. Could you tell us a little bit about what some of that work was, the particular community that you were trying to help?
Yeah, so the international students, I know a few of them. I don't know them all, but I know a few of the very vocal ones, and they when the pandemic happened, I mean, they can't go home, right? So they're stuck here at YSU, and when YSU closes all the food, like the cafeterias and things like that, then they don't have access to food. And as an international student that was here without a car for a while, I know how hard that could be. So they contacted me and said, like, hey, we don't have food. And I knew that there was a pantry, and they had opened the pantry up for the students living there. So I was able to contact the people at YSU that managed the pantry and tell the students, like, oh, like put them in contact. And then this is why I love this place, because it was like a quick post on Facebook, like, hey, if you guys have extra food, like take it to the pantry because the students need it. And it was overwhelming, the response that I get, like from the people in the valley, that just everybody's always willing to help. And that reminds me a lot of home. That's why I like it here. I don't know. Yeah.
Let's talk about the the research you're doing on sleep?
This was like a super interesting project that started with it's like a workshop that they put you together with a bunch of women doing math, right? So it's a group of 6 women from all around the world. There's one in Spain, there was one in France, now she's back in the US, but from everywhere and everywhere in the US. And so we all sleep, but
Right.
till very recently, nobody really knew why we sleep. I mean, you can think because we're tired and we need to rest, but that's not unifying through species. And also, if you're really tired, you could rest by putting your eyes out, like closing your eyes, but like maintaining that awareness, right? Because if you're a rabbit, like, and you fall asleep, it's like very costly. You could get eaten, right? So it's a lot of cost for sleeping. So there has to be something really important that you gain by sleeping. And what it is that you turn off your thermoregulation capacities while you're in REM sleep. So in that part of the sleep that you're dreaming, you do not have the ability to thermoregulate, which is scary because that means that you can get really, really cold or really, really warm. But it is the most expensive thing that we do as humans, like thermoregulation. And by expensive, I mean it's the one that takes the most calories or the most energy. So when you free up all that energy, you can do all sorts of things. So while we're sleeping, we are processing emotions, saving memories from the short term to the long term. We are learning, we are synthesizing proteins. So people that work out, if they don't sleep, they don't do that, they don't build the muscle, right? All of these really important things happen while we're dreaming, that part of the sleep that we're dreaming. And you're able to have those done because you're not thermoregulating. So we're investigating with our model that relationship between the temperature of the room and how well you sleep. Because if the temperature is really bad and you're not thermoregulating, you could imagine you're not gonna spend a lot of time dreaming because it's gonna wake you up because you're too cold or too warm. So that's what we do with our model.
Have you found anything interesting during the research so far?
Well, so we should be sleeping like the temperature that is the best for sleep. And I hate to say that because I feel like it's very different among people, but on average, the best temperature to sleep on is about 80 degrees.
Really?
But that is 80 degrees above your skin, which is about 64 degrees with a blanket, and depends on your metabolism, right? So, but if you were to sleep with absolutely nothing in your body and no blanket and nothing, you want the room to be 80 degrees.
Excellence at Work is sponsored by Youngstown State University.